The stars above the outer sector gleamed quietly, as if watching the final acts of a battle that had already changed the galaxy. The galactic fleet, once confident in its dominance, now hovered in uneasy formation. Commanders exchanged cautious glances, whispering among themselves about a civilization they had long underestimated: Earth, humanity. Commander Xylar paced the bridge of the Dominion, his elongated head bent forward in deep thought. The humans had not only challenged his fleet, they had forced it to reconsider everything it believed about strength, strategy, and courage. They have proven themselves beyond measure, he muttered. We cannot rely on brute force alone. We must adapt, or risk irrelevance. Some officers argued for retaliation, insisting that humans must be punished to maintain authority. But even those voices had softened under the weight of evidence. The humans had struck with precision, disabled key ships, disrupted formations, and retreated without unnecessary destruction. They had shown mastery not only of technology but of strategy, patience, and ethics. Prepare a response, Xylar said finally. We acknowledge their capability. We propose a meeting to establish terms. Let them see that respect can exist alongside power. Meanwhile, the human fleet held steady near the edge of the sector. The ships glimmered faintly in the darkness, sleek, quiet, and ready. Humans had already demonstrated their strength. But now it was time to solidify their position, not with firepower, but with intelligence, discipline, and courage. Admiral Elena Morris stood on the bridge of the Resolute, observing the alien fleet. We have shown them that Earth is no longer weak. Now we show that we are disciplined, wise, and prepared for the future. Our strength is not just in technology. It is in our unity, our courage, and our ethics. Commander Raj Patel nodded. Communication arrays are ready. We await their response. From the Dominion, a secure channel opened. Xylar's calm, deliberate voice echoed across the human fleet. Humans of Earth, we have observed your actions. We acknowledge your intelligence, your courage, and your precision. We are prepared to discuss terms of mutual respect and cooperation. Let this be the start of a new understanding between our civilizations. Elena smiled slightly. This is exactly what we hoped for. Strength earns respect, but restraint earns trust. Humanity will show both. The human fleet moved in closer, forming a respectful but unmistakable presence. They did not approach aggressively. Their formation was clean, precise, and disciplined. Every ship, every pilot, every crew member radiated confidence without arrogance. This was a demonstration of order, unity, and preparedness, a silent testament to humanity's rise. Across the alien fleet, Xylar observed closely. He noticed the difference immediately. Humans did not flaunt power. They did not demand submission. Yet every move, every formation radiated authority. It was a new kind of strength, one that combined skill, intelligence, and ethical conduct. Observe them closely, Xylar instructed. Learn from this. Understand that strength can take many forms. They have proven themselves without annihilation, without fear, without chaos. There is wisdom in their restraint. Humans, meanwhile, began opening formal communications. We do not seek war, Elena announced. We seek recognition as equals. We are capable, we are intelligent, and we are willing to cooperate. Violence is not our first choice, but we will defend our planet and people if necessary. Alien officers whispered among themselves. Many had never heard a voice speak with such calm authority and such clear purpose. Even those who had once dismissed humans as primitive now recognized a civilization worthy of respect. This is remarkable, one officer said quietly. They possess strategy, courage, and ethics. All at once, we underestimated them for centuries. Xylar nodded slowly. Yes, and we cannot make that mistake again. The galaxy has changed. Humanity has emerged as a power to be reckoned with. To demonstrate goodwill and the seriousness of their intentions, humans extended an offer of cooperation. Scientific knowledge, trade agreements, and shared exploration initiatives were proposed, not as a show of weakness, but as a display of vision and foresight. Elena addressed her fleet. Our goal is not conquest. Our goal is stability, understanding, and recognition. Every action we take from this point must reflect that. We are strong, but strength without wisdom is hollow. Let the galaxy see what humanity truly represents. Xylar's communications team relayed the message across the fleet. Alien commanders were impressed. some even moved by the clarity, purpose, and restraint demonstrated by humans. Over centuries, their civilizations had been dominated by fear, conflict, and ego. To see strength combined with morality and intelligence was something entirely new. "Prepare to meet with the humans," Xylar ordered. "We will negotiate terms. But know this. We approach not as conquerors but as peers seeking understanding. The galaxy has shifted beneath our feet." The humans responded respectfully. Envoys and diplomats were prepared for first contact. The human fleet remained in disciplined formation, weapons ready but unthreatening. Their presence was a silent message. Humanity would defend itself, but also seek peace and cooperation. As the alien and human fleets drew closer for the historic meeting, a profound silence settled across space. Ships glided gracefully, engines humming quietly. There was no celebration, no battle cry. Only the steady, disciplined movement of civilizations learning to respect one another. In the quiet of the Resolute, Admiral Elena reflected on the journey. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. The galaxy had believed Earth to be primitive, weak, and inconsequential. Yet through intelligence, courage, and moral strength, humanity had risen, not through reckless destruction but through precision, strategy, and ethical action. "Prepare the delegation," she said. "This is history. We are not just defending Earth. We are showing the galaxy the best of what humanity can be." Across the alien fleet, Commander Xylar watched closely. "They are unlike any civilization we have faced," he admitted. "Their combination of courage, intelligence, and ethics is formidable. They do not destroy recklessly. They do not dominate through fear. Yet they are unstoppable. We must recognize them as equals." The historic meeting began in neutral space, between fleets that had once viewed each other as predator and prey. Representatives from Earth and the Galactic Fleet faced one another, not with weapons raised, but with mutual curiosity and cautious respect. Words were exchanged and agreements were drafted. Shared exploration, mutual defense, trade, and cultural exchange became the topics of discussion. For the first time, the galaxy witnessed a human civilization respected not by fear, but by strength of mind, heart, and character. The once dismissed planet had emerged as a leader, a civilization that combined intelligence, courage, innovation, and ethical restraint. Xylar reflected silently. "Perhaps we have learned a lesson," he said. "Strength is not only measured in firepower. Intelligence, ethics, and courage can be greater than fleets and weapons. Humans have shown us that." Elena concluded the meeting with calm authority. "Earth seeks peace, but Earth also seeks recognition. We are capable of great achievement, but we are also willing to protect ourselves. Let this meeting be the beginning of mutual respect and cooperation, for the good of all civilizations in the galaxy." As the fleet slowly began to disengage, humans returned to Earth's orbit. The warships that had once moved silently through space now glimmered under the light of their sun. Pilots and crew were hailed as heroes, not because they had destroyed countless enemies, but because they had demonstrated humanity's courage, intelligence, and moral strength. In the weeks that followed, messages of recognition arrived from every corner of the Galactic Fleet. Aliens who had once laughed at Earth now approached with caution and respect. Humanity had changed the perception of an entire galaxy, not through conquest but through strategy, wisdom, and courage. Commander Xylar watched the stars in quiet reflection. "They have done what few civilizations have," he said softly. "They have forced us to see the universe differently. They have shown that even a once dismissed species can rise to greatness. The galaxy will never underestimate them again." On Earth, celebrations were held quietly, not in triumph, but in acknowledgement of achievement and unity. Humanity had faced an overwhelmingly powerful fleet and emerged victorious, not through reckless force, but through intellect, courage, and ethical action. Admiral Elena stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, looking at Earth below. "We have shown the galaxy who we are," she said softly. "Our strength is more than weapons. It is our courage, our intelligence, and our ability to act wisely. Let this be remembered. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of Earth, a planet once dismissed, now respected, a civilization once underestimated, now a leader. Humanity had triumphed not through fear, but through intelligence, strategy, courage, and ethics. The future had changed forever. And in the silent expanse of space, the human fleet held its position, Vigilant, disciplined, and ready, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new chapter in galactic history. The galaxy had always been a quiet place for the aliens of the Zorath Dominion. Stars blinked in patterns that spoke of age and distance, of worlds untold and civilizations unknown. For centuries, the Zorath had ruled their corner of space with calm authority, their fleets exploring nearby systems and cataloging planets that shimmered in alien colors. They had grown comfortable in their knowledge of the universe, believing that the secrets of life and power were all laid bare. That belief would be challenged in ways they could never imagine. It began with a ripple at the edge of the Andros sector, a glimmering movement unlike anything their sensors had ever recorded. The alien scouts reported it, ships unlike their own, moving with purpose yet impossible to track precisely. The shapes were strange, angular but smooth, built for speed and endurance rather than sheer size. They were a single fleet, a handful of vessels in the infinite darkness. Yet the energy signature was immense. For the Zorath, a fleet of that size implied something extraordinary. One ship alone could dominate an entire system, they thought. Entire fleets of their own would be needed to counter such power. The idea sent ripples of excitement and fear through the Dominion's High Council. Had a new civilization arisen, or was this an ancient race they had never noticed before? When the human fleet finally emerged fully from the void, it was like watching a predator glide across a field of stars. The ships were enormous by Zorath standards, but their numbers were small. Just a dozen, perhaps 20. Yet they moved with such precision that even the smallest maneuver seemed deliberate, almost choreographed. Alien analysts struggled to understand. How could so few vessels hold such presence? The sensors detected energy levels, shields, and engines far beyond expectations. But the patterns of movement, coordinated yet adaptive, were unlike anything the Zorath had encountered. Captain Rylan of the Zorath's observation cruiser studied the readings in disbelief. "It cannot be just a fleet," he murmured. "The energy output, the speed, the organization. It must be backed by a planet, 100 systems, something enormous. There is no other explanation." His assistant, a young alien named Vexa, tilted her head. "Are you certain, Captain? Perhaps they are small in number, but extraordinarily efficient." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Efficiency alone does not create this. Look at the patterns. Look at the coordination. Only a civilization with vast resources could manage such harmony." Meanwhile, the humans aboard the flagship Resolute were unaware of the alarm they had caused. They were explorers, scientists, and soldiers combined, tasked with mapping the outer reaches of this uncharted galaxy. Earth had sent them not as a planetary army, but as a single fleet of explorers equipped for survival, study, and defense. Humanity did not possess an endless supply of ships or weapons. What they had was something harder to measure: ingenuity, courage, and an unyielding will to adapt. Commander Aiden Cross stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the swirling mass of stars ahead. His crew moved with practiced efficiency, each person performing a precise role, yet all aware that flexibility could mean the difference between survival and disaster. "Approaching Andros sector coordinates," he announced. "Sensors are picking up multiple anomalies. Stay sharp. We do not know who or what is out there." Lieutenant Mara Singh leaned over a console, her fingers flying across the controls. "Captain, energy readings spike intermittently. Unknown origin. Nothing matches the Zorath database or anything else we have recorded." Cross nodded. "Could be natural phenomena. Could be something else. Keep tracking. I want continuous updates." For days, the human fleet drifted silently toward the heart of the sector, scanning every planet, moon, and asteroid belt. They had encountered alien species before, but nothing like this. The energy signatures and spatial anomalies suggested intelligence, but intelligence that had hidden itself well. Humanity had learned early in their history that patience and observation often prevented needless conflict. It was a lesson born from Earth's own long history of survival against overwhelming odds. Then the first contact occurred. A small Zorath observation drone appeared, invisible to the human eye but detectable by advanced sensors. Its purpose was reconnaissance to measure the fleet and report back. But humans had learned caution. The drone did not escape detection. Within moments, the Resolute had isolated it, traced its signal, and broadcast a friendly yet firm warning. "This area is under observation. Any unauthorized approach will be considered hostile." The drone paused. Its strange metallic frame shimmered as it hovered in place. Then it transmitted a signal back to the Zorath fleet, describing humans in ways that confounded the aliens. Few in number but coordinated, reactive, calculated risk-takers. They are not simple. They are complex, dangerous. The High Council convened immediately. The leader, a towering figure named Velkar, spoke with a voice that resonated like steel through the chamber. Explain yourselves. How can a handful of ships, mere fleetlings, present such presence and control? It is impossible. We must be facing a civilization of vast reach. Only Earth could produce this. Vexa, ever curious, dared to challenge him. Supreme Leader, perhaps we are overestimating. Could it be that this is all there is? A single fleet from a single planet? Velkar's eyes glinted. Impossible. Earth is not a planet capable of producing this. It must be a superworld, rich in resources, unmatched in technology. They could not have come from one world. Back aboard the Resolute, humans continued their quiet work. They mapped star systems, cataloged life forms, and adjusted their course to avoid any potential conflicts. They did not wish for war, yet they were prepared to defend themselves with every tool at their disposal. Commander Cross observed his crew, feeling a quiet pride. Every human on the fleet carried skills that could tip the balance in impossible situations. Ingenuity, teamwork, and courage were weapons as powerful as any plasma cannon or energy shield. In the night of the void, a human child-born crew member named Lyra gazed at the stars, fascinated by the unknown. She had been born on a colony world far from Earth, yet she felt the same curiosity and courage that drove all humans. Do you think they will be friendly? She asked, her eyes reflecting distant suns. Mara smiled softly. We will find out. Humanity always does. The human fleet moved closer to the Andros sector's core, their shapes glinting in the starlight, silent and patient. They were not an overwhelming force in number, yet every movement spoke of readiness, precision, and confidence. Even from a distance, the Zorath sensors picked up the patterns, the formations, the coordinated maneuvers, the subtle adjustments that no artificial intelligence could replicate, and the Zorath began to whisper among themselves. Perhaps their assumptions had been wrong. Perhaps the humans were not backed by endless resources or planetary armies. Perhaps the strength of humanity came from something else entirely. A spark of creativity, a refusal to surrender, and a will to survive against odds that would crush others. Days passed. The alien observers grew restless, torn between admiration and fear. The humans did not attack. They did not make demands. They simply moved, explored, and adapted. Every small action demonstrated intelligence and courage. Every minor maneuver suggested strategy and foresight. Finally, Velkar made a decision. Send the fleet. Engage them. Determine their origin. Understand what they are capable of. The Zorath fleet surged forward, massive warships glinting with energy weapons. The humans, though outnumbered, were ready. Commander Cross activated defensive shields and prepared tactical maneuvers. But even he did not yet understand the full scope of the challenge. From the human perspective, this was just another exploration mission. From the Zorath perspective, this was a confrontation with something legendary. The stage was set. Humanity had arrived in a new galaxy, not as a conqueror, but as explorers. Yet their presence alone had already changed the expectations of an entire alien civilization. The Zorath would soon learn that humans did not need planets or armies to become legends. They only needed courage, creativity, and a refusal to back down. In the silent void, the stars bore witness. The humans moved like shadows among suns, a single fleet against the vast unknown, unaware that the galaxy had already begun to take notice. And somewhere, deep in the observation decks of the Zorath warships, whispers spread. It cannot be just a fleet, they said. Earth must be more than a planet. But the truth was far simpler and far more remarkable. Earth had given them a spark, yes, but it was not the planet, nor the resources, nor the numbers that made them formidable. It was something alien civilizations could not yet measure, the human spirit. The Zorath fleet moved cautiously through the void, their massive warships cutting across the starlight like jagged shadows. Each vessel thrummed with power, energy shields glowing, engines ready for sudden bursts of speed. They had been trained to confront fleets of similar size and firepower, but nothing in their history had prepared them for the humans. Captain Ryland's command bridge was tense. Keep formation, he ordered. We do not know their limits. A small fleet, But with power like this, any mistake could be fatal. Vexa, his young assistant, monitored the sensors. She frowned at the data. Captain, the human fleet is maintaining perfect alignment. Their formation changes are subtle but highly effective. They respond instantly to each other's movement. Rylan gritted his mandibles. It is impossible. Coordination like that requires central command from a superplanet or vast intelligence network. How could just a single fleet manage this? The humans aboard the Resolute remained unaware of the Zorath's fascination and fear. Commander Cross had sensed nothing more than standard observation, yet he had prepared for any possible encounter. All stations maintain alert level 2, he ordered. We do not know who is out there, but we must be ready. Lieutenant Singh adjusted the tactical display. Captain, there is a sudden increase in energy readings. Something is approaching rapidly from the sector's edge. Cross leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Could be a natural phenomenon, but it looks artificial. Prepare for contact. Within moments, a small group of Zorath drones surged forward, sleek and deadly, testing the humans' reactions. The first drone attempted to scan the human fleet, sending pulses of energy to probe their shields. The humans responded instantly. The Resolute deployed countermeasures, dispersing energy waves that neutralized the scan, while small drones moved to intercept. The Zorath analysts could barely believe what they were witnessing. Each human ship reacted not as individuals, but as if controlled by a single unified mind. They adapted, calculated, and countered in seconds. On the Resolute, the bridge was calm but alert. Cross observed the drones, noting their speed and maneuver patterns. They are testing us, he said. Do not engage unless necessary. Let's see what they do next. The Zorath drones pressed harder, forming tight attack patterns, attempting to find a weakness in the human shields. Yet every maneuver was countered with precision. Tiny human fighter ships darted in and out, drawing the drones into traps that required no central computer to execute, only human skill and coordination. Captain Ryland could feel his own scales tingle with fear. Impossible, he muttered. They are outnumbered. Yet every action is perfect. They predict, they adapt. They are not just ships, they are something else entirely. Vex's voice was quieter, thoughtful. Perhaps, Captain, we are underestimating them. Maybe they do not need numbers or massive fleets. Perhaps their strength is something we cannot measure. Ryland's eyes narrowed. We will test them. Send a small warship to approach. Do not attack, merely observe. Let's see if our assumptions hold. The Zorath cruiser advanced, its engines glowing with quiet intensity. The humans detected the approach immediately. Cross studied the readings and then nodded to his crew. Prepare communications. Attempt a peaceful approach first. We do not seek war, but we are ready for it. As the cruiser drew closer, the humans sent a simple message through universal translation channels. Greetings. You approach without identification. State your intentions. We seek exploration, not conflict. The Zorath paused. Communication was unexpected. They had anticipated hostility or deception. Ryland spoke into the intercom. Identify yourselves, he commanded. We come in peace to observe. Do you recognize the authority of the Zorath Dominion? Cross studied the incoming transmissions. They claim authority. That is unusual. No alien fleet we have encountered operates like this. He gestured to the crew. Maintain readiness, but respond carefully. The Zorath cruiser hovered near the human flagship. The alien sensors recorded every movement, every adjustment in formation. They noted the way humans anticipated their actions, subtly repositioning their vessels, almost predicting the Zorath maneuvers. Remarkable, Vexa whispered. They are outnumbered, yet they behave as if they have infinite support. It is unsettling. The human fleet, meanwhile, continued its pattern of cautious observation. Commander Cross issued quiet instructions. Monitor their approach, but keep distance. Defensive measures only. Their signals are formal, but we cannot assume their intentions are benign. Then the test escalated. The Zorath deployed a larger drone group, a squadron designed to probe the limits of any enemy. They zipped forward with blazing speed, attempting coordinated attacks, striking simultaneously from multiple angles. Humans responded in ways no machine could predict. Their ships split into counter-maneuvers, drawing the drones apart, using gravity fields and energy pulses to redirect attacks harmlessly into space. The Zorath analysts were shocked. They are improvising, one muttered. Each response is different, yet perfectly synchronized. Ryland's scales bristled. They must be connected to a superplanet. There is no other way this coordination can exist. But Vexa shook her head. Or it is not numbers or technology. It is them, the crew. Their intelligence, their adaptability, their courage. Cross watched the Zorath maneuvers unfold, reading the patterns of energy surges and directional changes. They are testing us, he said calmly. We do not engage unless forced. Observe, respond, adapt. That is what humans do. Hours passed and the test continued. Every attempt by the Zorath fleet to gain advantage was met with precise, creative counters. Humans used environmental features, asteroid belts, radiation fields, and microgravity currents to their advantage, guiding the alien drones into harmless traps. Even when the aliens attempted to encircle the human fleet, the humans broke formation in unpredictable ways, always maintaining cohesion, always defending each other. The Zorath began to realize that brute force would not work. Each attack, each calculated strike was met with not just defense but invention. The aliens could not predict every human move because humans did not follow predictable patterns. They adapted, improvised, and sometimes even created opportunities from apparent threats. Captain Ryland turned to Vexa, a rare note of uncertainty in his voice. Explain this. They cannot be backed by an entire planet. It is impossible. They are evolving as they act. Vexa met his gaze calmly. Perhaps, Captain, that is the point. They are not machines. They are living, thinking beings, and their strength comes from that. Cross observed from the Resolute, his mind calm but alert. Keep track of every movement, he instructed. Every response. If they escalate further, we must be prepared. But do not underestimate their intelligence. They are clever, adaptive, and resilient. By the end of the first day, the Zorath had a new understanding. They had expected overwhelming numbers or superior technology. Instead, they found a small fleet, agile, coordinated, and nearly impossible to predict. One by one, their assumptions began to crumble. Earth had not sent a massive force. It had sent a single fleet reliant not on sheer size but on skill, courage, and ingenuity. Velkar, the supreme leader of the Zorath, convened a council meeting. Report, he demanded. What have we learned of these humans? Rylan and Vexa presented their findings, carefully outlining every observation. Captain, it is astounding, Vexa concluded. They are not backed by a planet-wide army. Their fleet is small, yet they operate with cohesion and intelligence that surpasses anything we predicted. It is not technology alone. It is creativity, decision-making, and courage. Velkar's eyes narrowed. They are unpredictable, dangerous, Rylan added. Yes, Supreme Leader. They do not rely on brute force or numbers. Their strength comes from something we cannot yet quantify. Caution is advised. Cross, unaware of the Zorath Council's fears, prepared for another cycle of observation. He reviewed crew reports, noting small adjustments in human strategy and tactics. Every crew member contributed to the fleet's performance, improvising as situations evolved. This was what made humans remarkable. Not individual skill alone, but collaboration under pressure. And in the vast emptiness of the galaxy, the first whispers began. Among the Zorath, uncertainty replaced confidence. Could these humans, with their small fleet, truly challenge the greatest forces in the sector? Could a single fleet, guided by courage and intellect, alter the balance of power in ways no one had predicted? Cross watched the distant glow of alien warships and smiled faintly. They are learning about us, he said. And we are learning about them. But we will not strike first. We never do. We adapt, survive, and protect. That is what humans have always done. For the first time, the Zorath faced a civilization that defied expectations. It was not size, numbers, or weapons that made humans formidable. It was something far simpler and far more profound. The human spirit, the refusal to give up, and the ability to turn the impossible into the possible. As the stars stretched endlessly around them, both fleets prepared for the unknown. The humans continued their exploration, the aliens continued their observation, and the galaxy watched silently. The test was not over. It had only begun, and somewhere deep in the observation decks of the Zorath fleet, Captain Rylan whispered almost to himself, "It cannot be just a fleet." Can it? The Zorath fleet lingered at the edge of the Andros sector, their massive warships casting long shadows over the stars. Every alien sensor was focused on the humans, every analyst searching for answers that seemed increasingly impossible to find. The fleet had begun their first observations days ago, expecting to confront overwhelming power. What they found instead was ingenuity, coordination, and courage, a force that no amount of calculation could predict. Captain Ryland paced the bridge of the flagship Dreadspire, his mandibles tightening with frustration. "Report," he demanded. "How many of their ships can we classify as a threat?" Vexa, seated at the tactical console, hesitated. "Captain, it is difficult to classify. Their fleet is small, yes, a single dozen or so vessels, but every ship operates as if it were multiple ships. Their movements, responses, and formations are not simply calculated. They adapt in real time without delay. Even our most advanced algorithms cannot predict their actions." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. There must be a hidden support network. They cannot do this on their own." Vexa shook her head slowly. "Perhaps we are underestimating them, Captain. Perhaps this is the truth. They are humans. They rely on intelligence, creativity, and courage. That is their strength. They do not need numbers. They do not need planets, they only need themselves." Ryland leaned over the console, studying the readings again. "Then explain this. How can such a small fleet hold presence against the might of the Zorath? Every movement, every maneuver. It is flawless." Meanwhile, aboard the Resolute, Commander Aiden Cross monitored the same events from his own perspective, unaware that the aliens were scrutinizing his every decision. His fleet continued its methodical exploration of the sector, adjusting formations and responding to the occasional Zorath probes with calm precision. Every human crew member contributed to the fleet's performance, improvising when situations demanded, coordinating without confusion. Lieutenant Mara Singh observed the Zorath readings with fascination. "Captain, they are attempting to test us again. Drones are approaching at high speed, but we can see patterns in their attack. They are trying to probe our limits." Cross nodded. "Do not engage unless necessary. Let's continue observing. Humanity has always survived by understanding the situation first, acting second. That is what we will do now." The Zorath fleet decided to escalate the test. A squadron of warships broke formation, aiming to encircle the human fleet. Their plan was simple: overwhelm the humans with speed and numbers, forcing them into retreat or surrender. The aliens were confident in their calculations. This would reveal the true strength of the humans. But humans did not follow predictable patterns. The moment the encirclement began, the fleet split into smaller groups, using gravitational anomalies, asteroid fields, and energy currents to their advantage. They did not retreat, they repositioned, adapting to the new threat with improvisation and intelligence. Cross observed the results. "Every move is deliberate," he said. "They cannot predict us because we do not act like they expect. Stay focused. Keep formation, but be flexible. Always adapt." From the Zorath perspective, the outcome was astonishing. Every calculated maneuver, every attempt to test weaknesses, was met with countermeasures that seemed impossible. The humans were not just reacting, they were anticipating, creating opportunities from threats and exploiting environmental factors in ways that no simulation could replicate. Captain Ryland's voice was tight with tension. "Report every system. Analyze. There is no hidden fleet. There is no planet behind them. They are alone." Vexa's antenna twitched. "Yes, Captain. I have verified it. The humans are not backed by any planetary network or reinforcement. This is all they have. And yet they are unmatched in adaptability and coordination." Ryland slumped into his chair, disbelief etched across his face. "This is beyond comprehension. They are perfect in execution, yet unpredictable. How can one fleet achieve this?" The Zorath Council convened once more. Supreme Leader Velkar demanded answers. "Explain this anomaly," he commanded. "How can a handful of vessels operate beyond the capabilities of a planetary military? How can they adapt to every test and remain flawless?" Ryland stepped forward. "Supreme Leader, I do not have a clear explanation. The humans are not backed by planets, fleets, or armies. Their power does not come from size or technology alone. It comes from intelligence, courage, and creativity. They act as one, yet independently. They improvise. They adapt. They survive. Vexa added softly, "Supreme Leader, perhaps it is not our understanding that is lacking. Perhaps it is our expectations that are wrong. They are humans. That is their power." Velkar's eyes glinted with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Humans. A single fleet from a single world, capable of defying our calculations. Dangerous indeed. The humans, unaware of the Council's deliberations, continued their careful survey of the Andros sector. They mapped planets, scanned for life, and cataloged energy anomalies. Every movement was cautious, every decision precise. They did not seek conflict, but they were prepared for it. And in this preparation, they revealed their greatest strength: unity under pressure. Even the youngest members of the fleet contributed. Lyra, the child-born crew member, observed energy readings with fascination. "Captain," she asked, pointing at a display, "these stars, the anomalies, could they be dangerous?" Cross smiled gently. "Yes, but they are also an opportunity. Humanity has always learned from challenges. We will observe, adapt, and overcome. That is what we do." Suddenly, a Zorath scout ship attempted a more aggressive maneuver, attempting to isolate one human vessel. The humans responded instantly. A small squad of human fighters moved to intercept, drawing the scout into a carefully designed trap. Gravity fields and energy currents redirected the alien vessel harmlessly into an asteroid belt. The humans suffered no losses. The Zorath analysts could not believe their sensors. It cannot be. A single fleet, and yet they respond perfectly to every threat. They are unpredictable, creative, and flawless. Captain Rylan whispered to himself, "Perhaps we have underestimated them. Perhaps this is not about power, but about something we cannot measure." Back aboard the Resolute, Cross reviewed the crew's performance. Every decision had been analyzed, every adjustment noted. "Humanity succeeds not because we are bigger or stronger," he said aloud. "We succeed because we learn, adapt, and never give up." The revelation began to spread among the Zorath fleet. Analysts, captains, and crew whispered among themselves. "It is not their technology," one said. "It is their creativity, their courage, their unity." Velkar, supreme leader of the Zorath, finally spoke. "We believed Earth to be a superworld, capable of producing this strength. But it is not. It is one planet, one fleet. And yet they have achieved what we could not imagine." Rylan added cautiously, "Supreme leader. Their strength is in their spirit. Their courage, intelligence, and adaptability are unmatched. They are not a planetary force, they are something else. Something human." Vexa nodded. "Yes, Captain. That is the truth. We have faced threats before, but never one like this. It is not power that makes them dangerous. It is their determination." Cross, still unaware of the Zorath realization, continued his careful exploration. He reviewed sensor data, analyzed star maps, and adjusted fleet formations. Every crew member contributed, improvising and coordinating. The humans were small in number, yet they acted as a single, cohesive entity, responding to threats faster than any algorithm could calculate. Days passed, and the Zorath came to a reluctant understanding. They had been wrong about humanity. They had assumed size and resources determined strength. They had assumed one planet could not produce a force capable of challenging their calculations. But the humans had proven them wrong. Velkar summoned his council once more. "We have underestimated humans," he admitted. "It is not their numbers, not their planets, nor their technology that makes them formidable. It is something else. Something we cannot measure, cannot predict. Something human." Rylan whispered to Vexa as they watched the distant glow of the human fleet. "They are remarkable. One fleet and yet capable of anything." Vexa nodded, antennae twitching. Perhaps this is why Earth has lasted so long. Their strength is not in their numbers, but in themselves. Intelligence, courage, creativity. That is what makes humans legendary. The humans, unaware of the Zorath realization, continued their journey. They explored new worlds, cataloged unknown species, and mapped the vastness of the Andros sector. Every action demonstrated the principle that had guided humanity for centuries: observe, adapt, and survive. And as the Zorath fleet retreated to analyze their findings, one truth became clear. Earth had given humanity life, yes, but it was not the planet, nor its resources, nor its fleets that made humans formidable. It was something deeper, more enduring, the human spirit. The galaxy had underestimated them, and in doing so it had awakened a new respect. One fleet, one people, one planet. The humans had shown the universe that courage, intelligence, and determination could surpass even the greatest expectations. From that moment on, the Zorath would remember the lesson. Never underestimate humanity. Not for numbers. Not for technology. Not for planets. For the human spirit was a force beyond calcul pioneers, inventors, fighters, and survivors. Thew. The Andros sector had grown quiet. The Zorath fleet, still awed and unsettled by the humans' ingenuity, kept their distance, observing every movement. The humans, meanwhile, continued their exploration, mapping systems and cataloging anomalies with methodical precision. They did not seek conflict, yet the galaxy had already begun to notice them, not as conquerors, but as a force unlike any other. Commander Aiden Cross stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the stars shimmer beyond the viewing window. All stations, he said calmly, maintain survey protocols. We continue to observe, record, and adapt. Nothing aggressive unless necessary. Lieutenant Mara Singh, reviewing sensor data, frowned. Captain, I am detecting irregular energy spikes near the Helion cluster. They are unstable. Artificial. Cross's eyes narrowed. Could be remnants of previous alien activity or something else. Prepare a probe. Let's investigate carefully. Keep defensive systems ready. The humans dispatched a small drone fleet into the cluster. Sensors transmitted detailed readings back to the Resolute. The energy spikes were not natural. They were weapons, left dormant but still active, designed to react to movement in the area. It was a trap, the kind of danger that tested skill, intelligence, and courage simultaneously. Cross gathered his senior officers. This is a test or a trap left by another civilization, he said. We have limited information. We proceed with caution, but we will not back down. Humanity never does. As the humans approached, the dormant weapons activated, launching targeted energy bursts and creating sudden gravitational anomalies. The small fleet was forced to adapt instantly. Human fighter ships darted between the energy surges, shielding one another, and creating a moving formation that transformed defense into offense. The Zorath fleet, observing from afar, was stunned. They had expected the humans to struggle against environmental hazards, yet the fleet's responses were flawless. The humans did not panic, they improvised. They adapted to every change, using the anomalies against themselves to neutralize threats without taking a single loss. Captain Rylan whispered in disbelief. How is this possible? They are outnumbered and facing unknown weaponry, yet they respond as if anticipating every move. Vexa nodded. It is not anticipation, Captain. It is ingenuity. They create opportunities from danger. That is their strength. That is why they are unstoppable. The humans continued their careful advance. Each vessel contributed, every crew member performing their role with precision, yet able to respond creatively to unexpected hazards. The fleet moved as a single entity, yet each ship retained the ability to act independently. It was coordination and adaptability in perfect harmony. Suddenly, a rogue faction of alien raiders emerged from behind a nearby asteroid belt. Unlike the Zorath, they were not cautious observers. They sought plunder and destruction. The raiders opened fire, targeting the human fleet's weaker points. Explosions rocked the vacuum as energy bolts streaked across the void. Cross immediately issued orders. All stations defensive formation Alpha. Use the environment to our advantage. Keep the fleet cohesive and adapt to every attack. Human fighter squads darted in and out of cover, drawing the raiders into traps. Shields absorbed energy bursts while micromaneuvers redirected enemy fire into space. The humans were outnumbered, yet they held their ground, striking with precise bursts that disrupted the attackers' coordination. From the Zorath observation deck, analysts gasped. "They are thriving under attack. They are using every disadvantage as an advantage." Captain Ryland leaned forward, astonished. "It is not just defense. It is strategy. They are converting chaos into order. This is remarkable." After hours of coordinated engagement, the rogue raiders were forced to retreat. The humans had not lost a single vessel. The Zorath, observing, realized that the humans were not just survivors, they were masters of adaptation. Their strength came not from weapons or numbers, but from courage, ingenuity, and cohesion under pressure. Velkar, supreme leader of the Zorath, convened his council urgently. "This is unprecedented. They have faced unknown hazards and rogue forces and yet remain undefeated. They are extraordinary. We must act carefully," Ryland interjected. "Supreme Leader, we cannot continue to treat them as a threat. Their strength is not destructive, it is adaptive. They survive, they innovate, and they inspire respect. Perhaps an alliance would serve us better than conflict." Velkar considered this. "An alliance? With humans? You propose cooperation?" Ryland nodded. "Yes, Supreme Leader. If we learn from them, observe them closely, perhaps we can gain understanding instead of confrontation. They are not a fleet to destroy. They are a civilization to respect." Back aboard the Resolute, Cross reviewed the aftermath of the rogue attack. "All units report status." Mara Singh responded, "No losses, Captain. All systems functional. The anomalies were neutralized and the fleet is secure." Cross smiled faintly. "Well done. Humanity adapts, survives, and overcomes. Remember that. It is what we do best." The Zorath, having observed the humans' capabilities and ethical restraint, decided to make contact. A delegation approached the human fleet in a vessel clearly marked as non-threatening. Cross received the signal and immediately prepared for a formal meeting. "Open communications," he instructed. "We do not assume hostility, but we remain cautious." The Zorath transmitted a simple message. "Humans of the Andros sector, we have observed your actions. Your skill, courage, and adaptation are remarkable. We wish to propose cooperation, not conflict." Cross reviewed the message with his officers. "They recognize our strength, but they are cautious. Let's respond in kind. Maintain diplomacy, but show confidence." The response was simple and firm. "We accept dialogue. Humanity seeks understanding, not conflict. We are explorers and survivors. Cooperation is welcomed under mutual respect." The Zorath delegation arrived, and for the first time, humans and aliens met in a neutral space. Cross and his senior officers greeted the alien leaders formally, while maintaining vigilance. The Zorath leaders, in turn, were visibly impressed by the humans' discipline, coordination, and calm demeanor. Velkar addressed the humans. "You are unlike any civilization we have encountered. Your fleet is small, yet your coordination and adaptability surpass our greatest expectations. We wish to learn from you and offer knowledge in return." Cross responded, "We share knowledge freely, as long as it respects the autonomy of all parties. Humanity thrives by understanding, adapting, and collaborating. That is how we survive." The first exchanges were cautious but productive. Humans shared navigational data, environmental analysis, and survival strategies. The Zorath provided information on local systems, energy phenomena, and alien technology. Both sides were cautious, yet the respect between them grew quickly. The alliance formed not through conquest or fear, but through recognition of true capability. The humans had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome numbers, technology, and seemingly insurmountable challenges. The Zorath, once observers, became partners, eager to understand and collaborate rather than dominate. In the quiet moments, Cross reflected on the situation. "We came here as explorers, not warriors. Yet our actions have inspired respect and cooperation. That is humanity's way. Adapt, survive, and lead by example." Even the youngest crew members learned from the experience. Lyra, standing beside Lieutenant Singh, asked, "Captain, did we really make an alliance with them?" Cross smiled. "Yes, Lyra. By showing who we are, what we can do, and how we act under pressure, we earned respect. That is how humans build trust." The galaxy around the Andros sector seemed to hum with possibility. One small fleet from one small planet had changed the balance, not through force or intimidation, but through courage, skill, and unwavering determination. The Zorath leaders, once wary and doubtful, now considered humanity a model of resilience and ingenuity. They realized that strength was not measured in numbers or planets, but in spirit, the very essence of the human race. Velkar turned to Rylan. We have much to learn from them. Let this alliance be the beginning. Perhaps one day our civilizations will achieve greatness together. Rylan nodded. Yes, Supreme Leader. Humanity teaches by action. It is not what they have, but what they do and how they face the impossible that defines them. For the humans, the alliance opened new possibilities. Exploration of unknown systems could continue with greater safety, scientific discoveries could be shared, and both species could benefit from mutual knowledge. Yet even with the alliance in place, the humans remained vigilant, aware that the galaxy was full of challenges, surprises, and unknown threats. Cross stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing into the endless expanse. This is only the beginning, he said quietly. Humanity will always face the unknown, adapt, and survive. That is who we are. That is why we will always endure. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the human fleet and the Zorath fleet moved together, cautiously exploring new horizons. An alliance had been forged not by fear but by respect. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's courage, intelligence, and ingenuity, and it had taken notice. And somewhere, far beyond the Andros sector, whispers began to spread among other civilizations. One fleet from a single planet called Earth had achieved what no one expected. One small group had faced the end. Spirit was a force unlike any other, resilient,